Today I thought I'd make a bit of an ad hoc video about whether you should go into maybe having a gap year before you go and do medicine. And there's a couple of pros and cons for that. So I think it's easy for me to say that I think you should have one if you're thinking about it, because I didn't, and I'll explain that. So since getting to medicine, I sort of felt like as soon as I got there and started revising, I kind of wanted to go and have that party experience. And you'll know as well as I do, if you're doing your A-levels now or you're in the first year of A-levels and you're thinking about doing medicine, that it feels like ever since GCSEs you haven't stopped revising. So I mean, fourth year, so year 4 or year 10, you will have been doing revising for GCSEs, and then for year 11 you'll be revising for your GCSEs, and then lower 6th you'll start revising for your GCSEs, and then summer break you should be revising for your UCAT, and then you go straight into your A-level year, and obviously you're going to be doing a lot of revision for that. And so basically the only kind of large holiday and break that you'll get from revision is in that holiday between university starting and A-levels. And if you are especially like a late birthday and you haven't gone out and kind of experienced the world, you're a late 18-year-old. I went to uni without ever having gone clubbing before, and that might be fine. You might be fine with that. You might be one of those people who, that's not for you, and that's fine. So if that's you, then maybe this isn't so applicable. But it's also important that you have a break from learning and revising. And with medicine, you basically are constantly revising all day, every day, and it can get quite tiring. And I think when I got to medicine and doing work for the first time, doing medicine for the first time, that it felt like I hadn't really had a break. And I could see other people on other courses who were doing kind of maybe more relaxed courses, or courses that aren't quite so content heavy, and I felt like a little bit jealous in a way. And there is going to be a little bit of that with medicine the whole way through. And being a doctor, you're going to have to say no to things. And I mean, if you've got the grades to study medicine, then you probably know what that feels like a little bit, saying no. There's certain types of people who go to study medicine who are like, oh, I'm on my grind types, or there's the kind of people who just love learning. All of us will have been working very hard for a long period to get here, and some people want to get it done as soon as possible. Some people want to get it done early, so they want to be able to finish by the time they're 24, 25, and go see the world. Some people will even do a few years in the UK and then move to America, and I believe that means you can finish a year or so earlier. And some people just want to get it done as soon as possible, and I get that, but at a minimum it will probably be around 5 years of you studying, and that can get quite tiring, and you might want a break. So I hope I haven't sort of put you off medicine a little bit by saying that you're constantly working. That's kind of what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life, but unfortunately, or fortunately if you enjoy it, but basically you will be doing a 9 till 5 at uni. Even first year might be a bit easier depending on which university you go to, but the way that you should be working, you can't really do a cramming style. So with GCSEs and maybe a little bit with A-levels, some people get away with cramming. Some lucky people can get away with cramming, but you can't really do that with medicine. So you're going to have to do a 9 till 5-ish, give or take, in first and maybe second year. But when there's loads of people around you who aren't necessarily taking their work as seriously as you, or aren't, that might come across badly. They might not be having so many contact hours and so much content to learn. Whilst compared to school, that might not feel like a massive burden. You're doing a 9 till 5. Whilst that might maybe even potentially seem like less, when you're surrounded by people who are constantly going out and basically taking up new hobbies, you're going to have to be a lot more selective. You're going to have to, maybe you can take up new hobbies, but you're going to have to be more careful with your time, with revision. And so if you see yourself wanting to kind of get out there and try new things, and maybe make some money before you come to uni, doing a gap year will be the best thing for you. So a gap year, kind of, when people think about that, they might associate it with, going to another country and exploring. And if that's something that you want to do, then, fair enough, it's the best time to do it, probably. But you can also just, work from home, save a bit of money, and then you won't get into so much debt when you get to uni, because unless you're very lucky with your economic situation, everyone gets in debt. Even some of the, people who have had a, really, really lucky experience growing up, a lot of them most of them will still end up in a bit of financial struggle. And, if for the first term or first year you want to be going out and maybe doing a bit of drinking and that sort of thing, you'll want to have maybe a little bit extra money. I mean, I went into uni with £200 I saved, which doesn't sound like a lot, and it wasn't, but it meant that I could have a really, really fun freshers month-ish, and not be so concerned about, the economic situation by the end of it. So that might be worth it for you. Or you can spend half the year working and then go abroad, or whatever you want to do. Or you can do working abroad. So I've got a family member who did that. It's really up to you, but it's just a little bit of a break, and I think that's really important. You can also use it as a great experience to try other things and see whether doing something else might be better for you. Maybe you could do some work experience. I know a lot of people won't have got in first time, and if you didn't get in first time, then don't worry. I technically didn't get in first time. I managed to get in through clearing. I was very lucky. But some of you might be worried that if you didn't get in first time, it's like, is it too late? Am I not going to be able to get the full benefit of medical school if I'm older? But I know some people who, I know of people, and I have a friend who had a gap year and then did a foundation year and then went into med school. I know people who are studying the same undergrad degree as me, even though they've technically done another degree before. So, if you're 1 year older or a few years older, there are people who are studying medicine who are in their 30s. So you're not going to be sort of late or behind in any way. Yeah, as I say, just sort of as like I think having like a chance to explore yourself and try new hobbies, maybe take up a new sport. When I got to med school, I had only really done rugby at school leading up till now, and when I got to med school, I had some friends who were really interested in martial arts, so I started learning a bit of Muay Thai. I don't really have that much time for it, and I kind of wish I had a backing in it already. And I know it's hard to think about what you will want in the future, so I can't say that in a year's time I'm going to be interested in this or I'm going to want to look into this, but in a gap year you can kind of explore those things a little bit, and see whether that's something you want to get into. Maybe starting a new musical instrument or learning a new language. You can do that in your gap year without any other pressures pushing on you, or as many pressures pushing on you. But yeah, I hope that was kind of useful, just to give you a bit of a thought, and not to worry. Don't worry if you're thinking about maybe you're going to be behind, because that's not true. That's not the case. And I hope this video was useful, giving you a bit of insight into that. So yeah.